We have a lot of fun talking about weddings with couples. It gets interesting because we provide a lot of value for them. We want to build that chemistry. If we do build that chemistry, if we have that chemistry, if we don't, it'll be a short consultation, half an hour. See ya. Because if you like So Weddings work, then you want to know more about how they do it, what they're doing, what am I going to get out of it. If you're just a tire kicker, you want to know, I've heard of you guys, but I'm not sure, then that reflects on your conversation.
The questions they ask, that type of stuff.
So I would know that you're not ready, right? And I give you the real thing I would give you just so much information that you need, but not what you want, right? So when you're ready, I'll give you what you really want, right? So same conversation as you would walk into a car dealer. They would be able to sniff out whether you're ready for a car or not. If you're just there to see, I'd like to check out the rims. Well, you're not buying the car, so I'll just give you, this is how much it's going to cost, approximately, right? But if you're ready, you will walk in and say, you know what, I think I really want to pick up this car. How much is financing? They would know that you're ready to go for that. Then you can negotiate at that point, right? They give you more information, kind of give you the after services, warranty, care packages, all that, then because you're ready.
Obviously, you have different tiers of packages. You don't disclose how much it costs on your website, does it? Do you?
We do have a price list that we send out once
Okay.
we know that they are emailing us or they're contacting us and they have a date. So the criteria is you need to know whether the couple already has a date set, if they have a restaurant set, or if they are really a friends with a friend, or if they know who we are already. Some couple actually booked me 2 years ahead. They have no location. They said, Nick, I want you to be my photographer. I said, okay, great. You don't have a date yet, but I will keep you in mind. And they will call me back when they have a location, right? So that's where it kind of brings me to the same answer is, this is why we do this for a living. This is why we love doing this, because people appreciate you. And we appreciate our couples because it's a mutual respect with what we do.
Is there any sort of red flags when it comes to wedding photographers? Because obviously, wedding photography, you could charge an arm and a leg for it. If I was the customer, asking for a consultation from you, like, what are some red flags you would be like, oh, if you saw this from, like, this is what the wedding photographer is doing, don't go with them? Either price or I don't know if there's anything like that. Something that you'd be like, oh, if they do this, don't go with them. They're a bad wedding photographer, or bad business, or morals or ethics.
That's a first I got. This is the first time I've been asked.
Because here's the thing, like, we work in industry, right? We obviously have our industry secrets, and we can definitely fluff up a lot of stuff for people to be like, hey, I'm going to charge you $5,000 for this. But in reality, it's like maybe cost us like $100, nothing to us, right? But people are like, oh, so emotional, I'm ready to get this, I'm in, because weddings are a very emotional thing, and it can get quite predatory sometimes, right? Like, how can you distinguish that? It's so hard to see like authenticity and the value that you get from people.
So if you're looking for a beginner or entry level photographer, then you don't have a lot of expectation. Anything would be great because the pricing may be lower, it might be more available. There are red flags that I would see is from other customers who come to me and say, hey, I've got friends that has these problems. One, photographer never showed up. Second, their photos never get delivered, and they would chase after them after years of chasing. They still don't get their photos. Inexperience. Photos comes out to be very inexperienced.
Like high school 8th grader type of thing.
Yeah, when they look at their photos, they're like, what the heck is this? Or they actually somebody else would show up in their place that they're not qualified for. So these things does happen in the industry because people do have a life. Maybe things happen to their life, right? So maybe they were in trouble and they had to find somebody to help. The good thing is if you wanted to find someone that, I think this generation of smart shopper, they know that how much you put in, how much you invest equals how much quality you get, generally speaking, right? So say if you were to shop with a company that's more reputable,
like yours.
Policy, yeah, like ours. We would have contingency plans. Let's say if I am booking a wedding day, I would not book anything more than what we can absorb, plus within one backup shooter. so that if, let's say, one of the person is down, we'd have an equal shooter that is equal. And if there are weddings that, maybe I couldn't show up, I would actually introduce a second photographer way ahead and introduce them and say, this is my backup, and also this is his work, and we're going to all sit together and talk about this, and show you work, and maybe that person will come with me to shoot the engagement shoot. So it's more communicative. Hardware, sometimes you would ask about how much hardware do you have, what kind of camera do you have, when you shoot, do you have two cards? For example, when I shoot always two cards. So if
two cards,
right?
Huh.
This has a CF Express and an SD card, so I shoot to both cards. And so when I say finish a wedding and then we go for a late night dinner, right? Most of the time, or 99% of the time, we tell everyone to grab their gear. But if you've seen how many cameras we have, it's sometimes pretty hard. So, but what happens is, no matter what, you grab that memory card and put it in your pocket. So if everything gets stolen and insurance covers it, your data is super important, right? And then you would have two cards. So if one of the card even fails during the day of, you just have a second card. That's just the policy, right? So some photographers may or may not have that, but data is super important to us. You can't do this again. So when it comes to editing, right, you would want to see a lot of their portfolio, and not just the stuff that you see on Instagram, not just you see on the website, but the back end of weddings. So how many weddings do you deliver? What kind of weddings, what other photos do you have? If you can ask for more than one portfolio, you can see how much do they edit. And contact on the person. Sometimes there has been issues where they don't show up, and I've heard that before, like where photographers just never showed up. But there are cases where photographers would call in last minute, like the day before, 2 days before, a week ahead before, and said, I'm available, I can give you my second shooter. Second shooter typically are pretty good, but again, it's your confidence level, right? So if you're uncomfortable with that, then don't. But you've got to trust your photographer once you hired him. Right, so those are, I wouldn't say red flag, but they are things that you have to keep an eye out.
Yeah, it sounds like a good way to be able to vet someone is for them to be able to show you the back end, just like how you kind of showed me, like, oh, this is all of the photos and the portfolios that I've had, so you can really see that. And if a wedding photographer has that, there shouldn't be a reason for them not to show you, right? There's no reason to like NDA it, like, oh, I can't show you this type of stuff. Kind of confidential. Yeah. It's like, yeah, take a look. Have at it. Just look at it. No problem. It shouldn't be a problem, right?
We do have a NDA on some customers, so we don't show those.
Okay.
However, most couples that we sign are regular package with. We do say that we will show your portfolio. However, it will be online or in person only, so the customers cannot download them or take them in any way or form, right? So it's just showing why we're doing this and the best shots out of it. And we show good and bad. Not bad, but just, there's some amazing shots for IG, award-winning photos, and there are some that are, okay, it's a regular wedding, right? Because not all wedding is going to be super amazing. And we admit to it, some weddings are better than others, but we still do a good job in the ones that are not as impressive, right? It might not be because of the wedding. It might be because, some couple might spend $25,000 on one table and the decoration on it. And there are some that would spend $25 on it. There's a difference, but you would still shoot in the way that we embrace what they have.
Okay, because you talked about IG a little bit, because there's obviously everyone wants to show the best part of their portfolio as a wedding photographer. But when I did my research, I just kind of looked around different wedding photographers, and all they do is they post their portfolio on IG, which is fair, it makes sense. But when you see the engagement on those photos, it's really not a lot. It's like, 3,000 followers, and you're like, 12 likes, one comment. I'm like, huh. Like, is IG even, like, obviously it's your portfolio, but does it even help scale, grow social media? Like, is there even point to it? From your experience, for seeing other people.
You are an expert in online social media, so I probably would ask you back that question. But if you ask me, I would say then you have to look at how much real customers are under their followers then. Right, so because there's ways to get more likes or followers.
Obviously, easy. Yeah, $5 here. Easy.
Yeah,
right.
I'd say if you were to look at the art, you want to see whether they're consistent, right? If their work is consistent, they're delivering. But if you see that there are certain photos that are amazing here, not so amazing here, it's all over the place, then that's a red flag too, right? Your question was, does it reflect, I guess, the quality when it has random numbers of likes? Or
Yeah,
does it help?
because you see, like, there's so many people on the account, right? Because they have the follow, but the engagement is so low. It just means like people look at it, but they don't exactly engage with it. Not really. Like some people like it. Just
I'm lucky. We actually have couples that do continually like our products, but this is the nature of wedding. You get married once, and you won't look at it again, or you don't need to.
oh, that's true. You don't really like down memory lane once in a while.
So that's something that's unique to our industry.
That's interesting because, like, I could answer that question if you asked it to me too. Because when I did my research for all this, like, in the few weeks, I already found out that there isn't really a named person who specifically does wedding photography per se. Obviously, you have your Peter McKinnons of the world, your Casey Neistats. Those are your big names. So these are people who are pumping out content for a year and a half, 2 years, and they're like high quality level content. Casey was like 500 days in a row. Peter McKinnon was one video every 3 days at high level production quality. So that's the people at that point. With wedding photography, it almost just feels like you guys don't have time to do the social media, to be like pumping out content just like that because you're so busy doing your own content for your clients.
There are some that are that does that, but I don't follow them. I don't know how they can do it, but maybe they have companies to help them, right? I think I just started looking into putting up more reels, more highlights, because the engagements are different. But you're right. It's not every day that we have the energy to finish edit and we go create content. Not like Peter McKinnon would. But there are certain photographers that are very high class, very creative in a different way. There's an award site called Fearless Photographers. Have you heard of that?
Award site?
Yeah, award.
What is that? Is it like a daily hype kind of thing, but mainly for this wedding photography?
Yeah, it's called Fearless Photographers. It consists of photographers around the world, and it kind of displays the most creative weddings, specific for weddings. And if you were to be online, check them out. They are some people that some of those photographers there. I just admire their work so much. If you say that I'm in the top tier, they are way up there.
Is there a specific name that stands out to you, and a person's work that you admire, that you could, I like this person's stuff? Any name specifically come to your head, or not right now? You're just
Not
like, I like
right
the
now.
style.
They're all amazing up there. I don't want to. Yeah, there's quite a bit, because there'll be a list of a lot of photographers that I admire. Each their own. Again, the work are very different, but they are very impressive. You probably, if you like creative art, you go into that award, because there's years of awards in there. You would just spend hours and hours looking at the work and go, oh my God, that's how crazy that website is.
Okay, then for you, obviously, so you have like something to aspire to. You see these amazing, you could say artists, I would just call them artists at this point, artists with their creative process. I guess for you, what is kind of your next step? What's the next phase for you? Do you want to level up your game to the point where you're like these photographers on the Fearless Photographers? Do you want to scale your business? Do you want to grow your social media? Do you want like what's the next thing for you? You have so many balls you're juggling, literally. Like what's the end all be all for you? If there is one for you at the point.
I think I think we're at a point where I think I'm going to trim down the number of weddings I'm going to be able to do, because it does get physically draining. The knees, the arms, the back, they start get going.
But they're okay for now, right?
They're fine for now.
Okay.
But you see them, they're whoa.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. I can crack a lot.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna go into half shoot and half teaching, course development, maybe mentor more photographers in that sense. So that's where the next direction is.
That's fantastic. Well, before I wrap this all up, Nick, do you have anything that you would love to be able to share with your audience, future audience, aspiring photographers, or people who are just looking to get married, any last words that you would love to be able to share with everyone?
Keep improving. Keep improving yourselves in a way that you want to be better than yesterday, right? Your work, your expectation, just compare yourself to yesterday, then you get better.
And just a side note, if you had one thing, just one thing, that if you could go back in time that you would change, is there anything that you would do differently?
No. I've had a really fun 13 years in wedding photography. And every day is a learning experience. Every day is fun because you got to enjoy what you do, right? No, I wouldn't go back at all. This is really good for me.